Fatties, welcome to my paradise. Today we're going to be making meat lovers pizza. We're going to also be making the dough from scratch, and we're going to be making our tomato sauce from scratch as well. So let's get started. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and measure out 2.5 cups of bread flour. And this is the best flour to use when you're making pizza dough. It is very enriched and good. It makes the pizza taste as natural as possible. You don't have too many additives. So we're going to do 2.5 cups. Alright, so that's our 2.5 cups of flour. Alright, next we're going to we do have 2 tablespoons of olive oil here. We have 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar, and we also have 1 1/2 tablespoon of yeast. And we're going to go ahead and get 1 cup of lukewarm water so that we can bloom our yeast in that. So let me go ahead. Alright, so I do have my 1 cup of lukewarm water right here. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and put my 1.5 tablespoons of yeast and let it bloom. And basically when you let it bloom, you're going to see this frothy look on top. And I would just give it about maybe 5 to 8 minutes to bloom, okay? So we're going to go ahead and let that do its thing. Alright, so we're going to go ahead, if you have a KitchenAid mixer or if you have any type of mixer that has a dough hook, this will be great for this. But if not, you can also mix this in a regular mixing bowl and do it by hand. So what I'm going to do first is go ahead and add in my 2.5 cups of bread flour right into the mixing bowl. And then I'm going to add in my 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar. 1 tablespoon of 1 tablespoon of kosher salt. And I'm going to go ahead and add in my 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And this is my yeast and my warm water that we had bloom. It is ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and attach my dough hook to it, and we're going to mix that in as soon as I turn it on. Alright, so I have my dough hook on. I have everything locked up. I'm going to turn it on stir. And what I'm going to do is just go ahead and pour that liquid right inside. And let me get a... Alright, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and get my dough covered up so that we can let it proof for about 10 minutes. Saran wrap, and you just put a little saran wrap over it. Alright, so we're going to let this sit for about 10 to 15 minutes until it proofs up. Alright, now we're going to get ready to start doing our tomatoes for the tomato sauce. So what I have here are some Roma tomatoes. And it's just these tomatoes right here. What we're going to do, I'm going to rinse them off, wash them off very good. Alright, so we have those rinsed off. You also need a pepper of choice, which it could be a yellow pepper, a green pepper, a red pepper of your choice, and we needed an onion. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and you need a saucepan because you're going to put about 2 cups of water in your saucepan so that we can boil the tomatoes. We're going to go ahead and get that started. We're going to take out the core of the tomato. We're just going to take that out like that. And this is going to be our little trash bowl over here to score the bottom of them like an X and at the top as well. And we're gonna get these going inside of our boiling water over here. I'm gonna show you in a moment. So all I'm doing is just taking out the core of these tomatoes. And just be careful when you're doing this. You can always buy pre-made tomato sauce as well. You don't have to prepare your own if you don't like. But at least you know what's going inside of your tomato sauce. Alright, so what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to come over here. And I'm going to add about a tablespoon of salt to my boiling water. And I'm going to add in my tomatoes. And what this is going to do for the tomatoes, this is going to help get your tomatoes soft, and also we're going to peel them when they get done boiling. So we'll let those do its thing for about 5 to 8 minutes. And then we're going to come back over here and get our onions and peppers prepared for our sauce. Alright, so I'm just chopping up some peppers right now. What are you all's favorite toppings for your pizza? I like peppers, onions, but today we're making a meat lover's pizza. So I'm just gonna dice these up. You just want to do a small dice because remember this is gonna go for your tomato sauce. And using the yellow ones, it gives it some color. So that's why I like to use these yellow bell peppers. It also gives it a sweetness. I'm just going to put them in this bowl right over here. And whatever you have extra left of your peppers, you can always use for another dish. You can freeze peppers. That's another thing you can do too as well, if you don't use them all. Alright, so our yellow peppers are done. I'm going to go ahead and start with our onions. You're not going to use this whole onion. You're going to use a half of an onion. And this is a large onion, white onion. So you want to take that layer off right there. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and dice these onions up. We're going to do like a medium dice. It's okay if you get some big chunks, you could just take them out and chop them more, because we're going to blend this all up together too when we're done. Alright, so that's done. I'm going to go back over here and check on my tomatoes. And let's see how those are doing. See, we're getting them, they're peeling, which is really, really good. So we're going to let them continue to do their thing. We're going to rotate them a little bit. And we just want to get them softened up. Got a little bit more time on those. Alright. So what we're going to do next, while we're waiting on that, we're going to just go ahead and get our meat going for our meat lovers pizza. So today we're going to be using pepperoni, and we're also going to be using Italian sausage. Alright, so right here what I have is a pound of ground Italian sausage. You can buy this already pre-made in the store. You can get a little less if you'd like. You don't have to have that much, but we're doing a meat lovers pizza, so we're going to have quite a bit of meat on there. And all we're going to do, you don't need to oil your pan because this meat already has enough fat in it, that it will cook down and render itself down. So we're just going to get that going. And we want to make sure that we cook this full. Cook this all the way through. Alrighty. Alright, so we're going to let this do its thing for right now. We're going to go ahead and get those tomatoes peeled. Alright, so these are tomatoes. And you see how they just peel like that? That's what we're looking for. We want to remove all of that from there. And they're going to be pretty hot, so just be careful. You can use tongs, or you can wait for them to cool down a little bit more so you can deal with it better. Alright. Alright, so we're going to put a little bit of olive oil in the pan. Wait for that to get hot. We're going to put in some onions and the yellow bell peppers that we chopped up earlier. And we're going to let these cook down for a little bit. We want to get these soft for our sauce, so we're going to let that do its thing. Some salt. Some ground black pepper. Onion powder. And some garlic powder. I'm going to just stir that all up. And I'm going to also add in some chopped up fresh parsley and some garlic. And we're just going to let this cook down. We have our tomatoes here as well. We're going to put those in. Alright, so we have about a tablespoon and a half of tomato paste. We're just going to mix that around. We're going to let that tomato paste cook for a little bit longer. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and add in those 4 Roma tomatoes that we had, that we cooked down. And we're going to add in 8 ounces of tomato sauce. And you want to turn this down on low. And you're gonna just let this cook down. So we're gonna let this cook for about 10 minutes or so, and we'll come back and we'll check on it. Our dough. We're just gonna sprinkle a little bit of flour on top. Now this makes a 12-inch pizza, and it probably can make something bigger as well, just depending on how thick you would like your dough. So we're gonna go ahead and start from the middle and just kind of flatten it out a little bit. You can get the thickness that you want. You can do this by hand or you can roll it out. So today I think we're going to do it by hand. And this is what I'm going to use for the pizza. And we're going to go ahead and just put a little bit of olive oil on there. And it's okay, you can smooth it around with your hand. Get it all coated. And now is a good time to go ahead and start your oven and make sure you put it on 350 so that we can get this pizza right in after we get it all topped. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and transfer my dough into my pan. And I'm just going to keep flattening it this way to the thickness that I like it. Just gonna keep going, and you don't want to mess with your dough too much because it'll make it pretty tough. But you see how I'm flattening it around there? Get it to the thickness that you like. You can have a thicker crust, a thinner base. You can also freeze this dough as well. So if it's just you and you're one person and you don't want to make a large pizza like this, you can always take a little bit of the dough that you need and you can freeze the rest. Alright, so I kind of like a deep dish style almost. So this looks good to me. I'm satisfied with this. Alright. So what we're going to do is go ahead and pre-bake our pizza off for about 5 minutes just to get it holding where we need it to be for our pizza, okay? It's going to give it that formation, and then we're going to pull it back out and we're going to go ahead and start building our pizza to make it as chunky as you like, as light as you like. It's totally up to you. And remember, you can always taste your sauce just to be sure if it's salted, and pepper it to your taste of your liking. All right, so now we're gonna let that cool down a little bit, and we're gonna get right over to building our pizza. Take my pizza dough out. Make sure you're always wearing gloves and you're taking something hot out the oven. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start building our pizza. So remember that sauce that we made? This is our tomato sauce that we made. Alright, so you could put as much of sauce that you like to put as you like. Alright, I'm going to add a little bit more sauce. And you just want to make sure that you're covering the bottom of the pizza so that everywhere has sauce. Alright, I think that's covered pretty good. Okay, so next we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of cheese on there. And this is pre-shredded already mozzarella cheese. You can put as much cheese to your liking. Make sure you just kind of do like an even coat of the cheese. Alright, that's all the cheese I'm going to put for now, because I'm going to put some more later on. I'm going to go ahead and put down our ground sausage that we cooked earlier. And you can put as much as sausage as you like. Remember, this is a meat lover's pizza, so you can put how much ever meat you like. Alright. I think that's pretty good. Then I'm going to go ahead and get our pepperoni on there. This is spicy Italian dry salami. I love pepperoni, so I'm going to put quite a few pepperoni on here. And you can buy all of this stuff pre-packaged at your local store of choice. Alright, I'm going to put some more. Like I said, I love pepperonis. Alright, so we got all our pepperonis on there. What I'm going to do now is add some fresh mozzarella. This is also pre-sliced at your local store. And you can buy any brand that... There's so many brands out there that are affordable. Alright, so we're going to just kind of like crumble it up a little bit. This is... mozzarella is so good on pizza. Alright. You just cover wherever you want to put it. Alright, I think that's good. And what I'm going to do now is add a little bit more shredded cheese just on top, just a tad bit. Just so we can have something to glue that together. And this is also something fun for your kids to do if you have children. Or, you know, something simple you can make for dinner. Quick and easy. Alright. So, now we're going to go ahead and put this in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes, just depending on how fast your oven works. But we're going to test it out in 15 minutes later and see how crispy our crust is. We'll be right back. I'm going to go ahead and get some fresh basil. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just slightly thinly cut my green onions. Alrighty. Then we do have some basil here. A little bit. So what you want to do with your basil, you want to roll it a little bit like this. And you just want to slice it. Alright, so we got some basil here. So now we're going to go ahead and take out our pizza. Ooh, that looks good. Alright. Alright, gonna go ahead and put some of those green onions on there that we just chopped up. So we're done adding our garnish. We're gonna go ahead and cut it. Alrighty. Oh, you think I should put it back in? Alright, so there we go. Great. So this is our meat lovers pizza. Thank you for joining, and make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can be reminded when I make another video. Bye.